Sup yo, what's up? Welcome back to another tier list video. Today we're talking about what I watched in March, yeah, innit? Anyway, let's stop that before it gets even more cringe. So let's get straight into it. If you guys need a reminder of how the tier list stuff works, obviously here we got S tier, which is like the best. If you are a movie, you want to be at S tier. It's the best tier. Then it obviously goes to A, B, C, D, E, and F. I didn't put F last month because I didn't really watch anything too bad. But who knows? Maybe this month I did watch something that bad, and maybe something will go into F. But let's just wait and see. Let's just wait and see. Okay. So first up we got The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves. Fantastic film. So far, it is currently my favorite film of the year, and it's going straight to S tier. I was in awe of this movie. Absolutely in awe. Every single aspect of this movie technically was perfect. Like the technical aspects of this movie, everything was perfect. Haven't heard sound design this good in a while. Haven't seen cinematography this good in a while. Haven't heard sound mixing and a movie score this good in a while. It was a great film. I think my only issue is I think the runtime is very long. It's a very long film. And I think there were definitely parts of this film that could have been cut down significantly, in my opinion. But besides that, it's a great film. I loved the cast. I loved every single one of the cast members. Colin Farrell kills it as the Penguin. He is great. Many people were a bit concerned about Robert Pattinson. I mean, I've seen him in films like The Lighthouse and Good Time, and I was not even stressed about it because I knew he was going to be a great Batman. I think we needed this sort of version of Batman. This Batman is he's a lot more sort of secluded from the world. He's not as outspoken as other incarnations of Bruce Wayne have been, which I actually appreciated. I think it was something we potentially needed from this character. At the same time, feels like almost like a reinvention of Bruce Wayne and Batman, but at the same time it feels very true to the comic origin of Batman and some very iconic Batman storylines such as The Long Halloween, Batman Hush, Batman Year One. There's like a lot of Batman references from the comic books in this film, and it is beautiful. It is also the best depiction of Gotham City we've had in a Batman film. I'm just going to say it. I love Tim Burton's version of Gotham, but I think it's the best version. And although Chris Nolan's Batman films were fantastic, amazing, epic films, I never liked his Gotham. I thought the best part of his Gotham City sort of version was in Batman Begins. Outside of that, it just kind of looked like, I think they filmed it in Chicago or whatever. Just looked like a normal United States city. So yes, Matt Reeves has done the best job with Gotham City. Gotham actually felt like a character. And it was both a place that I wish I could like kind of visit in real life, but also would be absolutely terrified if I lived there. And I thought Matt Reeves did that perfectly. If you guys do want to check out other Matt Reeves films, I highly suggest the Planet of the Apes trilogy, the recent one. He didn't direct the first one in that trilogy, but he directed the second two, and those films are great. They're so great. I think I cried on the third one, like legit. And it's a film about monkeys, essentially. So yeah. Anyway, let's carry on. Then I watched Batman. So I watched Batman. Okay. Here's the story. I watched Batman on the Thursday night, like a pre-screening sort of thing. Just want to take a sip of coffee before it gets too cold as well. Okay. So I watched the Batman. I had like a pre-screening on the Thursday, and then the next day I go watch it again. It was awesome. I loved it. But I feel the runtime a lot more the second time around, I will be honest. But watching this film in IMAX is absolutely insane. I mean, my second time watching Batman is also going to go S tier. It's a freaking good film, guys. It's a freaking good film. Yes. Anyway, then I made my own film. It's a short film, and it's barely a short film because it's only 2 minutes. And I don't even know where to put this thing. Just put it... I don't know. I'm just going to talk about it a bit. I'll just leave it down here. I don't know. I hate rating my own stuff. I just hate it. So, what if there's a way I can make an extra tier? No, it's going to take too long. But let's just pretend that it's like in its own tier. But anyway, I made this little Batman film. It's a bit of like a spoof / parody of one of the opening scenes in the movie. Had so much fun making this. It was one of the coolest couple of days I've had in a long time, where I've just been able to like just sort of get stuck in my own head and create something, and it was a lot of fun. Greg Fraser, the cinematographer of the Batman, actually saw this on my Instagram. I tagged him and he actually saw it, and he liked like a few of the comments on the post I made, and I think he viewed my story as well when I tagged him on that. So I was just super stoked. And then the guy like wins an Oscar a week later for Dune. Awesome, you know, I was so stoked. And then I even put it on Letterboxd, and like someone like gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and I was like, I'm so stoked. This is awesome. It's definitely one of the videos I've been the most proud of ever that I've made. It's meant to be super cheesy. It's meant to be very over dramatic. Again, it's like a parody of the sort of emo version of Batman in Matt Reeves' The Batman. But it was so much fun. I really had a good time with this. And yeah, I just thought I'd put it up there for fun. And it's also doing really well on my channel. Like, I'm so happy. Like, I'm genuinely so happy. I think we might hit 3,000 views on this video this week, which just blows my mind. Anyway, we're taking too long on this. Then I watched After Yang, and this film is gonna go, I'm gonna put it like B tier, although I could potentially push it up to A tier. But this film is a really, really good film. It's a very like subtle film, and it's very almost like reserved in a way, but it's super impactful and super emotional. It's pretty much like about this family who has like this artificial human that they have in their family. I know it sounds weird, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful movie, and something happens to that person, and it's just how they deal with the sort of trauma after that event, and it's remarkably impactful. And it was a really like impactful film about, I think, what it means to have connection with people and have community with people, and also just what it's like to lose someone that you love. And I don't know, I just thought it was remarkably impactful, but it wasn't overbearing, and it wasn't like trying to be dramatic. Like, it was almost like it's just really beautiful. Some excellent cinematography in this film. Obviously I'd just seen Colin Farrell in The Batman, and then I saw him here once again, and he's an incredible actor. So I really did like After Yang. If you guys are into those sort of more like arty films, it's a bit of a slow burn, but it's not like a very long film, so you can get through it. I highly recommend this one. I think it's a good one, and you might even put it higher on your version of your tier list, but I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Okay, next up we have the Lego Batman, and this film is going A tier. It is one of the best Batman films, period. Fight me on that. Fight me. I'll fuck you. I'll fuck you. It's so good. So good. I love how they sort of just make fun of the sort of relationship and dynamic that the Joker character and the Batman character have. The Joker character design in this film, if I'm being very critical, it's not my favourite, but I thought it was such a fantastic film. I love how they bring other Warner Brothers characters into this movie as well. Like, you see Harry Potter characters in this film, you see like Godzilla in this film, you see like Doctor Who, you see like a bunch of cool stuff in this movie that I had no idea that was going to be in this film. And it was just a lot of fun. Like, it's a really fun Lego Batman film. That's the one thing I like about the Lego movies. Like, it feels like a kid almost made them, like with their imagination. And once again, this has got that similar sort of feeling. But it's really good. Like, it's super impactful. It's quite emotional. Like, there's some emotional beats in this film that hit super hard. And I really do like that. It's pretty much about Batman learning to let people in again, you know? And I found that quite beautiful. Next up, we watched The Adam Project, directed by Sean Levy. And I'm going to put this C tier. It's a good film. Some amazing visual effects. Some shocking visual effects. But I think as far as Netflix originals go, this is one of the better ones that I've seen recently. It's really good. It's like kind of got like a Steven Spielberg vibe to it, like sci-fi vibe to it, which I did kind of like. Kind of reminded me a bit of like the whole E.T. sort of era of Steven Spielberg. Ryan Reynolds is great in this film. I can't remember the child who portrayed the younger version of Ryan Reynolds, but he also was really good. Like, I was surprised at how good he was. So it's a fun film. It's not a very long movie, which I think is good. And I think the first 2 acts of the film are pretty good, and then kind of falls apart a bit towards the end for me personally. But it was a good movie, and I do recommend it. It was a bit of a surprise to me. Next up, we got The Worst Person in the World, and this is also going to go A tier. I watched this movie, I think, twice now, and I don't know, man. This one's good. This is a good one. Like, it's a Norwegian film, but like I don't know, I just found this film like really relatable in some weird way because I don't go through anything that this woman goes through in this movie, but it feels like a very true depiction of, I think, what young adults in our current culture and society might think about other people and might think about themselves. And I don't know, I really like that. It's beautifully made. The film's good. It looks good. The acting's really good. Some really like odd scenes in this film, like weird scenes, but I enjoyed it. And yeah, I don't know, just like it's split into chapters, and I feel like some of the chapters in this film like really do hit hard. Some of the chapters are more like comedic and funny, and some of them are just like super emotional. And I think this character views herself as like the worst person ever. Like she honestly genuinely thinks that she's just no good for anyone. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of people in our culture and society who don't necessarily know where they belong feel like that. They don't feel like they have much worth to the people around them. And I feel like this film addresses that a little bit, you know? Anyway, let's move on. The Andy Warhol Diaries on Netflix. This was also good. I'm going to put it in... I'll put it in C tier. I can't remember exactly what I rated this, but it was really good. I felt like it was quite a long documentary series. I feel like it could have been condensed quite a bit, quite significantly. But I've been a huge fan of Andy Warhol for some time now. A lot of my artwork was based off stuff he did, like all the art he did. Wait, give me a second. I'll show you. Let's take my mark off. Stuff like this, and if you, yeah, like this. This was very influenced by Andy Warhol, as you can see. So it was a really good documentary, and there was like an era in New York City where there was like an art movement with a lot of different artists, and Andy Warhol is one of the artists there. And I've always found that art movement like super interesting, because it wasn't just Andy Warhol. There were like other artists around that time, like Keith Haring as well, which I'm also quite a big fan of. So it was a really good documentary that went into the life of Andy Warhol as a person, and just his struggles as an artist. I don't know, I found that really interesting. And also just the fact that like a lot of art critics weren't on like Andy Warhol's side. They didn't like what he was doing. And I found that super interesting because like he's arguably one of the most famous artists of all time now, you know? And I don't know, like I think this documentary also touches on how Andy Warhol has like significantly changed culture, like genuinely, he's changed culture through his art, and I think we've seen that through digital arts on the internet. Obviously, I think like NFTs and stuff, for example. I'm not going to get into that whole thing, but like I think largely the success of that could potentially root back to stuff that Andy Warhol did, which I found fascinating. So it's a really good documentary. It seemed like he was quite a sad person, which is upsetting, but I think a lot of great artists are. And yeah, it hits hard sometimes, like this documentary. The only like major critique I have with it is I think it is a bit long. But besides that, I think guys should definitely check it out. It was very interesting, especially if you are into like arts and stuff like that. Okay, I've spoken about Dune quite a couple times on this channel, but we're going to put it in the S tier. It's a great film. It's a great film. And it's going to get even better when we see more of Dune. Like, it definitely feels like a part one of a franchise. Not a franchise, of a trilogy. I don't want to say franchise, because I think franchises are often looked down upon these days. But it's a very good film. It's a very good film. And I kind of feel like it's going to have the whole sort of... It's going to have the same appreciation as, like, the Fellowship of the Ring for the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I think, like, once more films come out, it may not necessarily be the best part of the trilogy, but it's still going to be a significant and important part. So I kind of feel like that's what Dune's going to be like for a lot of people. Moving on, we have WINDFALL, another Netflix film. I'm going to put this in C tier as well. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. The third act, again, just kind of falls flat for me. I feel like the second act of this film is like super solid. It's a very dialogue heavy film, and I think when the characters are actually having proper serious dialogue, that's when the film's good. But yeah, the third act of the film, it just kind of like ends in a weird way, and it ends in a very rushed way. Like when it ended, I was like, oh, is that the ending? Like legit. So it was okay. It was good. Like I'm glad I watched it. I really love Jesse Plemons as an actor, so it was really cool seeing him. And also just seeing Jason Segel do like a more serious role was awesome. Like I really actually enjoyed him in this movie. And Lily Collins is always good, so it was cool seeing her too. It's a good film. It's on Netflix. Not super long. I do highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. Go check it out. Next up, we have The Mitchells vs. the Machines, and yeah, this is going to go S tier as well. It's the... Okay, I haven't seen it in concert yet, but it was my favorite animated film of last year. It's a beautiful movie. It's a beautiful movie. I relate so much to the main character in this film. It's ridiculous. Mainly because we just both love movies so much, and like our dream is to make movies one day. And I don't know, this film just like really touches on the whole thing on like how like important just family is. And I know that sounds like really cheesy and sort of cliche, but like it does just really show the importance of that and the connections we have with people. Like if the Mitchells weren't all together as a family and all connected, and like if they weren't a flawed family, because the family does have issues, like they wouldn't have saved the day, you know. And I don't know, I just kind of like that. It's a very like sort of true depiction of like I think a lot of families, which I thought was cool. And like the whole like road trip thing, like yeah, road trips are always like fun, but also like chaotic, and I kind of like how this film depicts that. So yeah, it was a really good movie. I wish it won the Best Picture for animated feature this year, but it's okay that it didn't. I've heard Encanto is good. I haven't yet seen it, but I really like this movie, and Sony Animation is just killing it. They honestly might be my favorite animation studio right now, even overtaking Pixar. So yeah, it's a great film. If you haven't seen it, get on it. Okay, we're nearly there, guys. Next up, we have Spider-Man No Way Home. I actually watched this for my birthday with my family. My parents hadn't seen it yet, and it was great. It's gonna go S tier. We got a lot of S tier this month, but yes, I know this movie is hugely flawed. There are a lot of issues with this film, and some terrible VFX, some cringy dialogue, some plot holes that are just all over the place. But I just love it. I absolutely love it. I kind of feel the same way like towards the Spider-Man film as like I do with the prequels. Like I know the prequel films in Star Wars are not like necessarily great, but they just hold so much significance and importance to me, and I just value them so much, and I love them so much despite their flaws. I kind of feel the same way about this movie. Like I absolutely love this film. I think it's a great film, and yeah, I mean no spoilers. I'm still not going to spoil stuff. Actually, no, I spoiled in the last Tierlist video. We see all the Spider-Men back. It's insane. It's so cool. And they just handle that with such care. And I don't know. I just felt like they weren't there just to make an appearance. That the writers actually wrote specific arcs for those characters in this film too. And those arcs hit hard. It's a good movie. I love Spider-Man No Way Home. It's great. Next up we have Greener Grass. And this film, this film was crazy. It was so weird. I want to put it in high B tier. It's an interesting film. I watched this with one of my friends, and she was like, "Let's watch this movie." And I was like, "Okay." And then we watched it, and she was like, "It's gonna be weird." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm ready." Like I've seen weird films. I've seen stuff like The Lighthouse. I've seen, a bunch of other weird stuff. This movie's weird, guys. This movie's so weird, but it was great. I genuinely liked it a lot. Feels super original. The whole movie's like got the saturated look to it, so it like almost feels like, when you're on your phone and you're like editing a photo, and then you just like slide up the saturation to like 100-200% or whatever, just to see what it looks like. The whole film looks like that. Like it's super saturated. Like each character wears like a different sort of color in the movie. For whatever reason, there's like a lot of oranges, like the fruit in this film, which I still have no idea what that means. I don't want to say anything else in case you guys watch it, but it was crazy. And it was by far one of the most memorable films I've seen this month, like new films. It was crazy, like in a good way. Remarkably original. It was fun. It was like a really fun time. And like I genuinely had no idea where the film was going to go, which I like. Like a lot of the time these days you can kind of predict where a movie's going. This film I had absolutely no idea. I would say like a minor criticism I have of this film is that it kind of just ends, and the conclusion, like it doesn't really feel like much of a conclusion really. feels like very much just like, oh, the movie ended. And I think the movie's trying to like make you think like what it might have meant, like it leaves the interpretation up to you. But I was very confused after I'd seen this film. I was like, what the heck was that about? Definitely touches on like suburban life and the sort of comforts in suburban life and like neighborhoods and like how you almost like sort of just fit into society and just whatever happens sort of happens. Like you don't really question much, which I did appreciate. Okay, next up we got the Windshield Wiper, which actually won animated short, the best animated short at the Academy Awards this month. And it's going to go D tier. I thought it was very okay, if I'm honest. Narrative-wise, because the animation is absolutely stunning. Reminded me a lot of like Love, Death and Robots on Netflix. But the actual like story of this, like it was like 15 minutes of just like random scenes, in my opinion. Like, and some of the scenes were super cheesy and like didn't really feel like that impactful. So I'm quite surprised at one. I haven't seen a lot of the other animated shorts, but I'm surprised at one, if I'm honest. But the animation is quite stunning. So if you are like super into animation, maybe check it out. But yeah, I thought it was okay, if I'm honest. Next up we got Sonic 1. Gonna go high D tier. Actually no, it's gonna go C tier. And then we got Sonic 2. It's also gonna go to C tier. So both these Sonic films are great. Best video game adaptations on like the big screen at the moment, in my opinion, by far. Sonic 2 is a lot of fun, introduces some new characters. I'm not super familiar with the Sonic franchise, so forgive me on that, but it's a really good and fun film. It's definitely like family orientated, so there's like a lot of humor that would sort of, I think like kids would enjoy more, if I'm honest. But it's still really good. It's really good. And Jim Carrey, like, I'm a big Jim Carrey fan, and just seeing him almost be like 90s Jim Carrey in this film again is just awesome. Like, I absolutely love that. So yeah, it was really cool. Sonic 2 is good. If you haven't checked it out, get on that. It's really cool. And then we have Morbius, and it's gonna go D tier. Morbius is a mess of a film. It's a complete mess. But I will say this. It's going to become a classic. Just hear me out on that firstly. Just wait, I'll explain. And it's not as bad as everyone's saying it is. This is going to get the same sort of fan base as like a film like The Room will have. Mark my words. I'm telling you. Already on Twitter I'm seeing it. There is a hardcore fan base for this film. It's almost like so bad that it's good. I was busy watching this film, and at a certain point there was a scene that was not meant to be funny, but I laughed. Like I genuinely laughed because it was just so bad. And then at that point in the film I was like, you know what, screw it. If this film's bad, I don't care. I'm gonna have a good time with this movie. And I genuinely had a great time. It was super fun. It was super good. And I enjoyed it. Like, I genuinely enjoyed it. It's not a good film at all. But it's a good. I had fun with it. And I'm telling you now, it's going to get a fan base. And it's going to get a very hardcore fan base. At least that's my prediction. I'm going to be very curious to see if that ends up happening or not. But this film it's a mess. The story's all over the place. I will say the first act of this film is pretty damn good. Like, genuinely, I was like 20 minutes into this film, I was like, okay, I don't see what the issue is. Like, I'm actually kind of enjoying this. Like, I felt like it was quite well, like, established. It established the origin of this character pretty good. And then Act 2 happened, and I was like, oh, okay, that's not good. It's getting worse. And then Act 3 is just, like, all over the place. Also, the post-credit scenes are the worst post-credit scenes I've seen in a movie in my entire life. And I'm not going to say specifics, but it kind of undoes a whole bunch of stuff that was kind of happening in these movies, which is just so irritating. Like, Sony just can never seem to keep a narrative going, like, and all the rules that they establish, they just throw them out the window. I'm like, what the hell is the point of making a shared universe then? Do something like Matt Reeves does and make a standalone film. Like, if you're trying to make a shared universe, obey the rules. Anyway, so besides the post-credit scenes and the after-credit scene, I actually had a good time on the film. Genuinely, I had a good time on the film. The post-credit scene definitely left a sour taste in my mouth. But besides that, I had a good time. Genuinely. and I don't care if you didn't. I did. So yeah. Anyway, guys, that is what I watched in March of 2022. Let me know what your favorite films were from this month that you watched. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. And yeah, just thanks so much for all the supports and the views and the subscribers. Like, I'm nearly at 600 subscribers. So thank you. Like, I really couldn't do it without you guys. And I just appreciate you guys all, like, a lot. So thank you so much. I will definitely be posting more videos throughout this month. But if you only watch my tier list videos, I'll see you next month for April. And until then, stay safe out there. And bye-bye.